So one of the major objectives of PESA is to ensure that all the out-of-school children are back to school. Because part of what is going on about the insurgency, we found out that out of school is a problem, because when they are ignorant, they don't know what to do, they can easily be convinced to engage into all these bad atrocities they are doing. So the mandate is that, okay, how can we now enroll them back to school? So based on that, the federal government of Nigeria, through the World Bank, obtained a credit of 611 million US dollars to ensure that they can use this fund to bring back out of school children. So based on that mandate, we are invited to come and witness what is going on here, because under that program, we have accelerated learning, as we just witnessed here. We can have either 6 months or 9 months accelerated learning. The idea is that before you can just place a kid into school, after a number of years, he must have some basic or background information about literacy. You can see here, you can see a girl of 12 years, you can see 5 years, 6 years, and they have never attended any formal school. So if you want to take them to primary school, how are you going to place them? Are you going to place them in primary 1 or primary 2? There is no way. So the first thing is you have to engage them in an accelerated learning process. Through that, though there might be age differences among the participants, but the basic thing is that they should have the basic literacy level at that. They should know the phonemic awareness, they should identify letters, alphabets. So when they have this, they can write exams. When they pass that, we call that mainstreaming. They are now good to go to the formal school, but they have to start with the non-formal learning. Non-formal, they are already age school, but they are not in school, and they cannot go into a formal school direct. So they have to have some basic literacy knowledge before they can be engaged. So they write exams. When they pass, they will be mainstream. So now the challenge with this community and why we are here is that after the mainstreaming, there is supposed to be access to schooling. But one of the major challenges in Nigeria, and one of the things that make some communities like this to be out of school, is access to schooling. We have working, we have poor. But if you look at this community, there is no any formal school around. And Alhamdulillah, we are here with the representative of the executive secretary of UBEC. As we are discussing here, I mentioned to her that I discussed with the executive director of this foundation that there is no any formal school in this area. So now, after the exams, what is next? They need access to primary education. So if you don't provide that access, they are still going to go out to school and they will be hawking, and then they will be begging on the street. So what is the solution? UBEC now, I think, with collaboration with something like this, will now take it up to the executive secretary, will now form part of our report that the program is successful. But the challenge is, what is next? They need a primary school in this community, at least with 2 or 3 teachers, so that those that are school age from next year, they don't need to go out of school. They can just enroll directly, and those that have finished their program now can be enrolled into the same program. So in a few years, you don't have any out of school children in communities like this. So mainstreaming now, after exams, is mainstreaming. That's the next challenge. They need a primary school around. So I'm really happy to be here, and I think Flexi support need any support from any organization, being it a governmental or non-governmental, because they are doing a wonderful job. And I'm really happy to be here, and thank you all.
Yeah, the essence of programs like this is to bring to the knowledge of the world that there exists a particular set in our community that are lagged behind in terms of education. Of course, I know all of you are surprised to know that this community exists in the FCT, close to the corridors of power, and yet we have children that are in this community that are not benefiting from education. Education is a right. It's a right of the government to provide education, and yet we see this number of children being out of school. You also recall that in the country like Nigeria, we're having the highest burden of out-of-school children. It's 10.5 million. That's a huge number. So programs like this is to bring to the knowledge of the world that we have a lot to do, and there exists a community like this somewhere close to the authorities, and also calling on the need for government to do all it can to provide education for this teeming number of youths. Yes, we live in a world of uncertainty. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, and like I've said also, we have a burden of out-of-school children. So the accelerated, we call it accelerated basic education curriculum, is a curriculum that was developed by the federal government, and the sole reason for that accelerated basic education curriculum is to fast track education. People have missed out because of displacement, because of crisis. So this curriculum is actually coming in handy so that it will take care of the loss period that these children have encountered. So the federal government is taking the lead on this, and I think it's something that all of us in the education sector should also find a way of keying in. One good thing about this curriculum is that the 9 years basic education has been condensed to 3 years, and it's for out of school children, and it's also for children that are over age. So if you have the opportunity of going to a regular school, we are saying go to a regular school. But peradventure, unfortunately, if you are part of children like this that have been left out, the accelerated education is there to support you. And the main goal of it is that at the end of it all, you'll be mainstreamed into a formal school where you continue your education.
Our major mandate is to reduce the number of out-of-school children in Nigeria and across the globe using several initiatives, because we believe that there is no one-size-fits-all for a child. Every child is unique to their circumstances.
Director of Planning International Nigeria
So
targets for those children.
Yes, so we started with enrolling kids back to school just like any other program, but then during the course of our work we realized there are some kind of children that are very unique and you have to catch them in their community because of their circumstances and because of the problems we have in the country, like distances to schools, insecurity problems. That's why many parents don't even release their children to go to school. So accelerated learning program meets them in their community. It helps the people in the community to buy into the project. Like you can see, all the mothers, all the people in the community are there. We assign them roles, and then we get very trained staff to come and train the children with basic numeracy, literacy, life skills. And there is a course we call computational thinking. That one is a digital literacy course, but they get the basics of digital literacy first before we expose them to tablets. And we also have now like the mobile classroom, which is a solution to communities that are not situated. Like, this community, you can see most of their buildings are makeshift. So once we are done with the project here, we train the community people how to access school, and because of the training the children have received, they are able to thrive very well in formal school. So, and the parents support them to continue while we also monitor them. We also keep monitoring their progress and see how they are doing.
How long have you been in this community?
3 years, but because of COVID, the project is supposed to be 18 months, but because of COVID, So we started with 50 children, but then there were some challenges, and that's why it ended up becoming like some of them dropped out, but then we still have like over 40 children remaining under the program.